Hi, this is BB Ukrainian Analytics, the channel of top news, analytics and insights from Ukraine about Ukraine and about Russia-Ukraine war. My name is Bogdan Butkevych and I am Ukrainian journalist and blogger.
Hi, and I'm Olena Vostrova, a Ukrainian vlogger. And today, as usual, we'll analyze the most important events of the week. So subscribe for our channel if you want to know the truth and insider information about Ukraine and Russia-Ukraine war.
United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken visited Kyiv for an unannounced visit on Wednesday and Tuesday.
He brought $1 billion, Abrams and HIMARS, and here we want to express our gratitude to all American people. Thank you for your support. Thank you that you stand with Ukraine for our freedom and independence, for our values, dignity and desire to be a part of the Euro-Atlantic space and lifestyle. Please don't stop. We need your support. We need ATACMS and F-16 to expel the Russian invaders from our land.
So Antony Blinken did not meet cute dog patrons this time as he did during his previous visit. Also, he ate in McDonald's together with Ukraine Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba, and was surprised when Kuleba said that he was a little bit drunkard when he was young, and he said, okay, but as we know, Blinken was, if I'm not mistaken, a scientist when he was a younger student in Harvard. Yeah.
So, as you see, the pair shared cute stories from their time as college students in a private conversation under the sight of dozens of cameras. Why in McDonald's? Probably because earlier in the war, Kuleba had called Blinken to complain that McDonald's withdrawal from Ukraine sent a very bad message, as people lost jobs and suppliers lost contracts.
Then Blinken said he would look into what could be done. And a couple days later, Kuleba received a call from the US Embassy. I think having McDonald's in the country is a message, a message of confidence, he said.
This is how the comeback of McDonald's started, and that's why they were there.
Some of our journalists call this fast food diplomacy.
But if seriously, Blinken visited Ukraine to prepare the meeting of two presidents, Joe Biden and Volodymyr Zelensky.
Zelensky is expected to attend the annual gathering of world leaders at the United Nations in New York this month and take part in a United Nations Security Council meeting on Ukraine.
So Blinken met with the Ukrainian president to see his expectations and to deliver important messages from Biden's administrations.
Blinken also met with the civil society representatives and anti-corruption activists to hear their opinion regarding reforming and combating corruption in Ukraine in order to understand how to increase United States assistance in this process. And
we should say that we do need assistance of our Western allies in this process.
The thing is that Antony Blinken visited Ukraine on the background of cleaning up the Ministry of Defense from corruption. Oligarch Igor Kolomoisky arrest and the scandal, real scandal around asset declarations of politicians and officials.
Look how iconic it is. Just the day before Antony Blinken's visit on September 5, the Ukrainian parliament passed a bill in its second reading to restore asset declarations for officials, which have been central to talks on Ukraine's accession to the European Union and borrowing money from the International Monetary Fund.
However, Parliament voted that there will be no public access to officials' asset declarations for 1 more year. It's a real scandal, and it's, I can't even imagine how they can do this when in our country, which is in a war.
But they did it, and Ukrainian society exploded with anger, indignation and critics. You can observe reactions of people in social media on your screen.
A soldier from the Armed Force of Ukraine from the battalion Da Vinci Wolves, Oleksandr Yabchanka, who this month was wounded for the third time at the front, created a petition to the President Zelensky.
This petition asks Zelensky to demand that Parliament amend the law so that asset declarations are publicly accessible.
The draft law deprives citizens and journalists of a tool for monitoring for the actions of officials and a main safeguard against the corruption during the war.
Hiding government declarations from Ukrainians means covering up total corruption in the country.
The petition broke all records, and at the time of recording of this video, it already more than 84,000 votes.
And their number continues growing.
I think it will be 100, you know.
Yes. And this is no longer a petition, as some people say, but a referendum.
And you know, according to Ukrainian law, Zelensky has to consider all petitions on the official side of petitions to the president if they reach 25,000 signatures. But there has been no reaction from the president yet. We are waiting for it. We demand from President Zelensky to veto the draft law on asset declarations and make them public.
As for the new Minister of Defense, Rustem Umerov, and the perspective of the cleaning up the Ministry of Defense from corruption, we talked to you in this video.
And as for Kolomoisky arrest, it is a separate story. Suffice it to mention that it was Antony Blinken who announced the sanctions that the USA was implementing against Kolomoisky in March 2021.
And the fact that Oligarch Igor Kolomoisky appeared behind bars just before the Antony Blinken's visit is not a mere coincidence born from the desire of the president's office to fight corruption. It looks like, a trick to hide Kolomoisky from the Ukrainian and American justice.
Actually, another element that shows a constant effort of Zelensky and his people to deceive our Western allies was the story of the arrest of this oligarch, Igor Kolomoisky.
A week ago, the authorities arranged a loud PR company on the sudden suspicion of him by the Security Service of Ukraine in a new case, after which he was quickly locked up in a pretrial detention center.
At the same time, a related scandal also arose. After all, a year ago, Zelensky allegedly took away Kolomoisky's citizenship by a secret decree. But when the judge at the court read to him the decision to keep him in custody, he called him a citizen of Ukraine.
Even then, independent journalists and observers talked about the fact that there are very big questions about this detention. That it maybe will be a performance, the main purpose of which is to prevent the National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine from completing a major case against the oligarch.
And also to delay the time in court in London, where Ukraine as a state filed a lawsuit against Kolomoisky for $5 billion for the money withdrawn from Privatbank, which the state had to put into it during nationalization.
Many people said that this sudden story with the Security Service of Ukraine is connected with the fact that the leaders of the Ukrainian anti-corruption bodies went to the United States of America.
And it was at this moment that an operation was carried out to save Kolomoisky in the form of sending him to prison for a certain time, from where he can get out at any convenient moment, by making an agreement with the investigation and paying a fine that is quite small for his asserts.
After all, in the case of the Security Service of Ukraine, he is accused of only $15 million.
But what is a penny for such a dollar billionaire?
Add to this the fact that Zelensky wants to show the Americans the alleged fight against corruption, but he wants to show this the way that is beneficial to him.
It is very dangerous to entrust the oligarch on whose channel the comedian Zelensky made his career and who became the main foundation of Zelensky's nomination to presidency into the hands, of American justice.
After all, Kolomoisky knows many dirty secrets of the financial activities of Zelensky Kvartal 95, and he can simply drown his former nominee.
And so, the leadership of NABU, the National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine, returned from the USA, and the real suspicion of Kolomoisky in the case, which has been under investigation for many years, was rolled out on this week.
And now it has become obvious that the real abrupt and unexpected detention of Kolomoisky by the Security Service of Ukraine looks like President's office attempt not to give him into the hands of the institution that is not under the control of the President's office.
NABU and SAP, Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office of Ukraine, blamed Kolomoisky for stealing 9.2 billion hryvnias from the Privatbank.
This is 20 times more than the Security Service of Ukraine was able to collect on its charge. But that is far from all, because in this suspicion, detectives covered only 3 months of bank robberies by Kolomoisky's group from January to March 2015.
And then there was the summer of 2014 when 1.8 billion was withdrawn from Privatbank. It was the withdrawal of money under contracts for the purchase of hundreds of excavators in Ukraine. No one ever saw them. And chemicals for long-defunct factories. That is, they were simply withdrawing money.
And there were years of frantic withdrawal of funds from the country even before the 2014 Maidan.
In general, the scale of the stolen by Kolomoisky Bogolyubov Dubilet from Privatbank can be estimated at $5.5 billion. That's how much the state was forced up to put into the bank when it took it away from Kolomoisky, so that he could no longer blackmail Ukraine with his influence.
This money was stolen for a long time and laundered in America.
The United States wants to put Kolomoisky in prison because they believe that he bought a lot of property in America with the money stolen from Privatbank. For example, commercial real estate in Cleveland, steel mills in Kentucky, West Virginia and Michigan, and a mobile phone factory in Illinois, and commercial real estate in Texas.
So now we will see what legal loopholes will come out of the fact that the Security Service of Ukraine decided to announce its suspicion of the oligarch a few days earlier than NABU.
It is difficult to say whether Blinken's visit played a role here. After all, this suspicion was being prepared just for this time, but it was slightly delayed due to the visit of the leadership of the anti-corruption authorities to the USA. What the President's office immediately took advantage of.
Well, the war for Kolomoisky has begun, and Zelensky cannot help but understand that both Western partners and the Ukrainian people perfectly understand the stretch on which he is sitting.
It is not a problem to betray your former patron who brought you to the throne. This has happened and will always happen in history. The problem is that Kolomoisky probably has a lot of classified information on Zelensky.
Plus, he still has his channel 1+1, one of the most influential in the country. Rumor has it that it is this channel that the authorities want to take away from him.
Authorities, Zelensky, you know. And this is supposed to be a payment for the fact that the President's office will not allow NABU to arrest Kolomoisky, and moreover to transfer him to the USA.
But in connection with the history of closed asset declaration and constant corruption scandals, this is a big problem for Zelensky, which he's currently trying to solve with his standard method.
What's the matter? He's trying to make shows for the West, while in really he's trying to save his people's asses.
Let's see if he can do it this time. Too high-profile case and person, too much attention, too much stolen money.
And huge risks for the President himself, especially in light of the fact that the elections will most likely be held next year.
That's all for today. Please write your comments right under this video.
And for sure, give us your like and subscribe for our channel, the channel of the top news, analytics and insights about Ukraine and Russia-Ukraine war.
Subscribe for our channel if you want to know what's really going on here in Ukraine from the inside. Let us be your Ukrainian insiders.
See you.
Papa.